Alright guys, welcome back to another video. The big talking point yesterday were the nominations of the Game Awards. We will be looking at that, especially the Game of the Year category, because that is something that is creating controversy. I feel like that category creates controversy almost every year, but this year more so than others because of a specific nomination in that category. We have some information about Fable, which sounds phenomenal. I'm very excited for Fable, and from what we are hearing today, it looks like it is going to be living up to those expectations, and obviously we'll have to wait until it gets released, but it sounds very, very good, so it's getting me more excited. And we have some other information here that we will be going over, like a 60 FPS patch to an older game, PSSR, and the PS5 Pro. Something's going on with that. We'll discuss all of this stuff, but before we continue, if you enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit that subscribe, share the video, all that stuff, and let's jump right into this. So the Game Awards, we got the nominations from Jeff Keighley, and as you know, with the Game Awards, it is generally the big mainstream video game websites and journalists and everything that vote on this stuff. So they're the ones that choose the fate of all of these developers and games for who wins all of these awards. So a lot of people look at that and they don't take it as seriously probably as some other people do. But the reality of the situation is I watch the Game Awards. I watch it for the reveals. I think a lot of people mainly watch it for the reveals. I remember when they showed off the Series X and they announced it back in 2019. Which was a huge moment that got me really excited. And they've had some other moments like that at the Game Awards, but that is why I sit back and watch this show. Don't really care who wins the awards, but they definitely create very good discussions and back and forth between people. Pretty heated at times as to why was this game nominated? Why wasn't this nominated? Is there a bias here? Is there a bias there? But this year, the weirdest thing of all kind of has to do with the Game of the Year nominations, because as we saw at the last minute, they changed the rules, saying that DLC could be nominated for the Game of the Year. And of course, they did that for a specific reason. I think they were preparing for a lot of outrage. But the Game of the Year nominations, here they are: Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, which is DLC, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. A lot of people are scratching their heads here and asking, does the Elden Ring DLC deserve to be in the Game of the Year category? Now, I haven't played it, so I don't really have a strong opinion on that. But just generally, I don't believe DLC should be in the Game of the Year category. It should be for a brand new game that we saw for the first time. I feel like you can take DLC and put it into other categories and give its recognition there, like best ongoing game. I mean, there's already a category for like that. There's should be a best DLC category, all of that type of stuff. You could take that and still recognize that content rather than throwing it into the Game of the Year category. I know a lot of people love this. They got very good reviews. I don't think it should be there. There are many other games that could take its place that people have brought up. Specifically, you think about Space Marine 2. People are scratching their heads and wondering why that beat out Space Marine 2 and other games out there as well that could have been added to this list. So very weird, but I mean, you kind of saw it coming with the change of the rules that they had put out there that DLC could be in the Game of the Year category. I don't know who's going to win this one. I have no idea. I feel like it's probably going to be Astrobot. I think PlayStation, they get a lot of nods here with the Game of the Year. So I feel like it's going to be Astrobot. A lot of journalists love that. You could see with the reviews, you could see just kind of the sentiment around that game from when it did release, that people really enjoyed it. I feel like it's going to be Astrobot, but I could be wrong. I think Metaphor has a good chance as well. That could be the Game of the Year. And then we'll see if anything else. But Balatro getting in the list is pretty interesting. It's a small game, small indie game. So that's cool to see. I do like seeing stuff like this happen where you have these smaller games from smaller developers get recognition if they have created something really, really good. So that is cool to see, but we will see who does win. Now, I'm not going to go through every single category, but Xbox themselves are pretty well represented here in the different awards here. They have 12 nominations across games. They say Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, Senua, Sega, Hellblade 2, I believe. There's also Diablo and everything. So they are very much in the mix here to win some awards this year and be recognized for all of the content that they have put out. So we'll see what happens. There's so many awards in this show that it goes on and on and on. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are looking forward to this for the game reveals, or how many new things are going to be shown off for 2025. And are we going to get something that absolutely shocks us? Because we have had those moments previously at the Game Awards back in 2019 when Xbox showed off the new Xbox Series X. That was a very exciting moment for a lot of people. So hopefully we'll get something crazy like that happen. Hopefully we'll get some games that we are expecting to come to different platforms, to the Xbox platform, to PlayStation platform. Hopefully we get all of those announcements and people get excited about all of that type of stuff. So Game Awards are coming up, but the Game of the Year nominations are an interesting one, and we'll see what wins. It'll be crazy if the Shadow of the Erdtree actually does win the Game of the Year. You'll see even more outrage about all of that. But let's talk about this because this is very cool. I'm very excited for this game. This is coming out in 2025, so they say, if it doesn't get delayed. But that is Fable. And we've seen already gameplay of Fable. We've seen what it is all about. It looks like it's going to be a very fun game. I am a fan of the series. I really do enjoy Fable. But they are rebooting it. So when that happens, there's that risk that it just doesn't hit the same way that the originals hit. We have some more information here from Jez Corden and the Xbox 2 podcast with him seeing alpha footage of Fable. And he says it has CD Projekt Red DNA, similar Witcher 3 mechanics implemented, like the usage of different swords and magic, which, again, not surprising, but that's awesome to hear. A mature tone from enemy types to narrative. So one thing with Fable is that it was always kind of laid back and happy-go-lucky, and they make jokes and all this stuff. So I wonder what exactly that means, because it does kind of still give you that feeling a bit from the trailer. So how mature is it? Is it taking away that some of that magic that Fable did have that I liked about it, which was just kind of a tone that they were going for? Well, I wonder exactly what that means. They say very polished for an alpha build, and heard that there will be options for multiple main protagonists. So it sounds very exciting, very hyped for this game to come out in 2025. Hopefully we see more about it. Maybe we see something at the Game Awards, probably not, but we will most likely see a lot more about Fable at the upcoming showcase for Xbox in 2025 and get a deeper dive into everything that this game is all about. All right, let's talk PlayStation 5 Pro and the PSSR. So my take on the PS5 Pro and the PSSR is that basically the PSSR is exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it's implemented in future games. I'm looking forward to see what the competitors do going forward. I know Xbox will have their PSSR, DirectSR, if they use that or something else. Nintendo may eventually have their own thing as well. So this is going to be the future of video games. It's not going to be major, huge graphical upgrades like people always think from generation to generation happens. It's going to be small increment upgrades, better performance, slightly better visual quality, and it's all going to come down to this AI tech that all these companies are trying to use. And PSSR is PlayStation's. And I think the PS5 Pro is basically a beta test for the PSSR to get it into the hands of developers early, get them acquainted with it so they have a few years here before the PS6 comes out, where the PS6 can launch full throttle with this AI upscaling tech that they have here with PSSR. And we're seeing that kind of play out as it is releasing. We're seeing the PSSR do great things, but we're also seeing it do some weird things, as we have this here. It says PS5 Pro owners complain that some Pro enhanced games look worse. This is reports suggesting that Silent Hill 2 and Star Wars Jedi Survivor, two games that are marked as PS5 Pro enhanced on the PlayStation Store, actually perform worse in their enhanced versions than they did on the base PlayStation 5 console. There's a Reddit post here, a Reddit thread here going over the PS5 Pro enhanced. This is false advertising blatantly. This is a worse standard PlayStation 5. They say here that if you look at the side-by-side, you can see just how unstable the game appears now with PSSR in the performance mode. This is via Digital Foundry, and he's talking specifically about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. He says, I would personally go as far as to say it looks dramatically worse than the old performance mode here. And he suggests here that the issue comes down to the PSSR and how it upscales the images. Says, like other upscaling algorithms, the PSSR takes a game's existing rendered image and uses machine learning to attempt to fill in the missing details and present the game at a higher resolution. So that is obviously having issues. And like I said, I just feel like it is because this AI upscaler PSSR is not being utilized 100% correctly yet, which is why I say the PS5 Pro is basically a beta test for this thing, for developers to be able to use it properly when the PS6 does launch. They do say here that it's not clear whether these issues will be patched or whether the problem has to be fixed at a game level or a system level, but Silent Hill 2 players on the game's Reddit page are becoming impatient at the apparent lack of acknowledgement from Konami or Sony on the issue, saying, I'm totally fine if a patch or fix for the extremely obvious Pro issues is not ready or is perhaps weeks away even. I'm not unreasonable in expecting immediate fixes on a new console. So there you have it. It definitely is looking like there's going to be some growing pains here with PSSR. Not surprising whatsoever, which is, again, my point of it being a beta test console for this technology. I think we're going to see that play out with more games going forward, but I do believe it will have some great effects and make games run and look overall better once those kinks do get worked out for that technology. Now, one of the things that is cool to see out of nowhere is when older games randomly get these 60 FPS updates for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S. And we have a new one here, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which I'm a fan of these games, so I'm definitely going to be checking this one out. But Assassin's Creed Syndicate here got a random upgrade here that's launching on November 19th, so it's out now. 60 FPS patch, and will also add 4K resolution to the PS5, the PS5 Pro, and the Xbox Series X. So pretty cool. This game was released in 2015, and it's in London and everything. If you haven't played it now, is going to be the best time to check it out, as it does get this nice upgrade. I'm going to check it out because these games look great. I mean, even though they are older games, came out in 2015, they still look phenomenal. If you remember Unity, that game launched, and it was just a mess technically. But it's one of the most beautiful looking games even to today. If you load up Assassin's Creed Unity, it is a beautiful, beautiful game. So they did a great job there. Now with these updates, they will look even better. All right, and to end things off, we have a couple of more things here. Horizon and the PlayStation, we know that they have to get some games as a service going. They need to be able to get some multiplayer games. Obviously, Concord, $400 million loss. They have to do something in those genres to be able to have continuous revenue coming in to support all of their big single player cinematic games. And Horizon, they are working on a multiplayer game. We've heard this rumor a lot. It's, I believe, looks sounding like an MMO style of game, but it looks like it is coming in 2025, as a new job listing is suggesting this. And specifically, they're looking for QA testers, which is the last step of a game development. So this game looks like it is getting ready to be announced and released, which means a 2025 release. This was posted up on their website, Release QA Intern, where it says you'll acquire both theoretical knowledge or practical experience to ensure the game is prepared for launch. It's available for an internship during the first half of 2025. So they are gearing up for announcing, releasing this Horizon multiplayer online game, whatever it is. They're getting ready for it. They're doubling, tripling down on the Horizon IP. I mean, we saw the remaster and everything that they just released. This is huge for PlayStation. This thing needs to hit. It needs to do well. I don't think they can afford for this game to fail in any way, similar to the way that Concord did. Now, I don't think it will even come close to failing like Concord, but it may not be as impressive or as successful as they expect, because getting into games as a service and multiplayer, from what we have seen multiple times, multiple attempts, even with stronger IPs, it's difficult. So it's not a guarantee here, but they need this one to hit, and hopefully it will be something fun for people to jump in and play. And the question is, where does this launch? Is this just PlayStation, or is this a PC day and date game as well? My thought is this is probably a PC day and date game. This is going to be one of those big PlayStation IPs, another one that launches onto PC on day one, and continues to push home that point that everyone's changing. The strategy across every company is changing. Multi-platform is the future. Playing wherever you want to play is the future. I think this will be that, but we will see. Who knows? Maybe they don't do that, and if they don't, I think that may bite them in the ass. And then finally, if you are a Back 4 Blood fan, it looks like Back 4 Blood 2 is in development. This one's kind of interesting how this was found out. Pretty wild that people find these types of things, but this information is from the resume of an actor, Jesse Hutch, who was the stuntman and motion capture for the first game, for the first Back 4 Blood. And the codename for the first Back 4 Blood was Gobi. And in his resume, he says he's working on a project that's untitled called Gobi 2, which you could kind of take a guess that is Back 4 Blood 2. As on top of that, the back4blood2.com domain has been registered and it remains active. So it looks like we're gearing up for another Back 4 Blood game. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.